Imagine you're at a coffee shop and your order is completely wrong for the third time this week. What do you do?
Ugh, I've been there. I usually just sigh and drink it, or maybe just leave. But I always want to say something. I just don't know how without being rude. That's why you're listening to SpeakCast English, your daily English listening practice podcast. Today, you'll learn how to politely but firmly express dissatisfaction, and specifically, what it means to give someone a piece of your mind without actually being rude.
Exactly, Emma. It's a common struggle for English learners, especially when you want to be assertive but not aggressive. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to clearly communicate your concerns, understand the nuance of giving someone a piece of your mind, and know how to stand your ground when necessary.
That's a huge relief. I always worry about offending people or just sounding too direct, which sometimes happens when I translate from Vietnamese in my head.
I understand completely. Politeness levels can be very different across cultures. Let's think about your coffee shop scenario. What's the feeling when your order is wrong? Portal again.
Frustration, definitely. And a bit of embarrassment, like maybe I'm being too picky. But then it's like, this is my money! I feel like I just bite my tongue and let it slide, even when I know it's not right.
Bite your tongue and let it slide. Those are great phrases, Emma. Bite your tongue means to stop yourself from saying something, usually because it's inappropriate, or you might regret it. And let it slide means to ignore something or not take action, often when you should.
Yeah, that's me. I let too many things slide. But what if the service really crosses the line? Like, not just a wrong coffee, but maybe a waiter was genuinely rude, or they overcharged me and refused to fix it?
Now we're getting into territory where you might need to give someone a piece of your mind. But let's be clear. This phrase often sounds aggressive, but it doesn't have to be. It means to tell someone directly and often firmly what you think of their behavior, especially if you're annoyed or upset.
Oh, so it's not just for shouting matches? I always thought it meant getting really angry and yelling, like, I'm gonna give that manager a piece of my mind. Sounds like a threat.
It can be used that way, yes, for very strong anger. But it also means expressing your strong disapproval or complaint directly and honestly. The key is direct and honest feedback. You can give someone a piece of your mind politely but firmly, making your point without raising your voice. It's about expressing your feelings and concerns clearly, not necessarily being confrontational.
So if my coffee was wrong 3 times, I could say, I think I need to give the barista a piece of my mind about this. And it wouldn't mean I'm going to scream at them?
Exactly. It means you're going to have a serious, direct conversation where you express your dissatisfaction. You're going to address the issue. It's about being assertive, not aggressive.
That makes so much sense. So how would I actually start that conversation? What are some good, polite ways to begin? Because I definitely don't want to just blurt out, your coffee is terrible!
Good question, Emma. That brings us to our second key phrase, to raise a concern. This is a much softer, more formal, and polite way to introduce a problem.
Raise a concern. I like that already. It sounds professional.
It is. When you raise a concern, you're mentioning a problem or worry so it can be discussed or dealt with. You're not just complaining. You're inviting a solution. For example, you could say, excuse me, I'd like to raise a concern about my order.
Oh, that's perfect. It sounds so much better than, I have a problem.
Absolutely. It shows respect, and it usually gets a better response. Think of it as bringing a specific issue to someone's attention in a constructive way.
So I'd start with, I'd like to raise a concern, then explain the problem calmly. But what if they try to brush me off, like, oh, it's fine, it's just coffee?
That's where our third phrase comes in. to stand your ground. This means to refuse to change your opinion or decision when someone is trying to persuade you to, or to maintain your position despite pressure.
Stand my ground? So, not letting them dismiss my valid complaint?
Precisely. It's about being firm without being aggressive. You're asserting your rights or your position. You're saying, no, this is genuinely an issue, and I expect it to be resolved. You could say, I appreciate your offer, but I need to stand my ground on this. This isn't just a small mistake. It's happened repeatedly.
That's really helpful. I often struggle with that part, feeling like I have to accept whatever they offer, even if it's not fair.
Many people do, but knowing these phrases gives you the tools to handle these situations with grace and confidence. You can be polite, raise your concern, and if needed, stand your ground, all without being rude.
Okay, Andrew, let's break these down properly. I want to make sure I really get them.
Excellent idea, Emma. Our first phrase today is, give someone a piece of your mind.
So it's not about yelling, right?
Right. It means to tell someone angrily or forcefully what you think of their behavior, but the asterisk forcefully task part is key here. It implies directness and honesty, and can be done calmly. For example, I had to give the airline a piece of my mind after they lost my luggage twice.
Okay, I see. For Vietnamese learners, I think sometimes we might literally translate piece of your mind and think it's very aggressive, or we might just use say something bad, but it's about expressing strong disapproval directly.
Exactly. It's about communicating that strong disapproval clearly. Let's try repeating it. I had to give them a piece of my mind.
I had to give them a piece of my mind. Good.
Our second phrase is raise a concern.
This one feels safer for me to use.
It's certainly a very polite and professional way to bring up a problem. It means to mention a problem or worry so it can be discussed or dealt with. It's constructive. For instance, I'd like to raise a concern about the noise level in the restaurant.
So instead of, I have a problem with the noise, it's, I'd like to raise a concern. That's much better. For Vietnamese speakers, sometimes we might say, tell a problem, which is a bit too direct. Raise a concern is more subtle and polite.
It is. It frames it as an issue for discussion. Let's repeat that one. I need to raise a concern.
I need to raise a concern.
And finally, our third phrase for today, stand your ground.
This is for when they try to brush me off, right?
That's right. It means to refuse to change your opinion or decision when someone is trying to persuade you to. It's about being firm. An example would be, even though the manager tried to offer a small discount, I stood my ground and insisted on a full refund.
This is important. Sometimes we might feel like we're being stubborn if we don't accept the first offer. But stand your ground means you're firm for a good reason. It's about not letting yourself be easily pushed around when you're right.
Precisely. It's about justified firmness. Now, let's practice that. You need to stand your ground.
You need to stand your ground. Okay, I feel much more confident with these.
Fantastic. Now let's put it all together in a shadowing exercise. I'll say a sentence slowly, then at a natural speed. Try to repeat it after me, focusing on the pronunciation and rhythm.
I'm ready.
Our sentence is, I had to politely give the manager a piece of my mind about the poor service. Slowly. I had to politely give the manager a piece of my mind about the poor service. Natural speed. I had to politely give the manager a piece of my mind about the poor service.
Repeats. I had to politely give the manager a piece of my mind about the poor service. That piece of my mind part feels a bit tricky to link smoothly, but saying it slowly first really helps to get the flow. I need to remember to link piece of and my together.
Excellent observation, Emma. That's exactly the kind of detail that makes your English sound more natural.
This was so helpful, Andrew. I feel like I finally have the tools to handle those awkward situations without feeling rude or frustrated.
That's wonderful to hear. Remember, you can raise a concern politely and, if needed, stand your ground and even give someone a piece of your mind without losing your cool. It's all about clear, confident communication.
I'm going to try using raise a concern next time I have an issue.
Great idea. For our listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us about a time you had to raise a concern or stand your ground and what happened.
Yes, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more daily English listening practice.
Before we finish, let's do a quick recap of today's main ideas and the most useful phrases.
Pick one or two expressions and try them in real life today, even in a very short conversation.
Thank you for listening today. We hope this episode helped you practice real English. You've been listening to SpeakCast English. Thanks for practicing with us, and see you next time on SpeakCast English.